Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. So for today's video, I thought it would be a good idea if I showed you and went through what I've been reading recently. Because one of the ways that I like to relax if I'm like stressed or if I'm on holiday, especially when I'm on holiday, is that I love reading. And when I was a child, I was a massive bookworm. Like, I was one of those people that would literally read a book like in a week, like around school, on weekends. I was always in the library in Birmingham on weekends with my dad, and I would get like the maximum amount of books out that the library card would let me take. I was one of those people, and sometimes I think at one point I was reading, like I had 2 books on the go at once because I just couldn't get enough. But recently, like in the last like few years, I haven't read as much, mainly because of like academics and just like not having time, and the fact that I was having to read so much for like studying. I was like, oh, I don't want to read anymore. Like, I want to like just watch TV and just do something easy that isn't reading, because I've done enough of it. So this year I have really tried to read more, and I've like made like a conscious effort to like actually read books again, and I've really enjoyed it. So I thought I would show you the 5 most recent books that I have read. I say recent, like the ones that I've read, like the last 5 that I've read basically. So I just thought I would show you them, tell you a bit about them and whether I enjoyed them or not basically. So if you want to see what the books are, keep on watching, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first book that I'm going to show you, I actually read last year, tell a lie. Actually, the first 2 I read last year. And I'm really like kind of ashamed of myself that last year I managed to read 2 books. Like, Jade, that's just shit, man. So, but I really enjoyed both of them. So I'm going to show you these 2 first. So the first book on my little pile is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. I think I'm saying her name right. If you have been living under a rock and haven't seen the smash hit TV series that now has 2 seasons, what are you doing? You need to go watch that if you can. But basically this is the book that inspired the TV series. So I actually started watching the TV series first and was absolutely loving it, and I was like, I swear this is a book. And like the credits at the end said based on the book by Liane Moriarty. So I went out and got the book last year. Oh my god, this is so good. So basically the story behind this is the book is set in Australia, but the TV series is set in California, so there is a slight difference. But basically it's about like a tiny town, and it's all very like idyllic and like dreamy, and like they all have like really nice lives and everything. And it's all about like the mums and dads in this town, and like the kids are starting, like they call it kindergarten, but it's like our nursery type thing, or like primary school, that kind of age. So it's all about like the parents and like the dynamics there, and like arguments and who clashes and all that kind of stuff. But it all comes to a head on this thing called trivia night, and basically a big dramatic thing happens. I'm not going to give spoilers away because that would be mean, but basically on trivia night something dramatic happens, and that's what the book essentially works up to. And in the TV series, the second season follows on straight after the first. Like, there's just no gap at all, it just follows straight on basically. So yeah, I absolutely love this. The book, I got this in Waterstones. I bought all these books in Waterstones actually, because I've got the student card thing, so you get 5% student discount, and then you get points, and that works up to like a voucher or something. I think I'm nearly at the voucher point. So yeah, this book is $7.99, which isn't, I think most of them are around that price mark, so nothing too expensive. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I can definitely recommend it. If you want to get an idea for what happens a little bit, maybe watch an episode or 2 of the series first before you buy the book. I always do that, just to see if I like the gist of the story before I spend money like actually like buying the book. But I can definitely recommend this. Really easy to read. The chapters aren't massively long, which for me can be a deal breaker. Like when chapters are like 20 pages plus, I'm like, nah honey. Like when I need them to be like around like, yeah, like 10. Like in this one chapter starts on page 276 and then the next one's on 281, so nice short and snappy chapters, just makes it much easier to read. So I absolutely love this book. It took me so long to read it in between A levels and everything, but I would read this again quite happily. Like I am one of those people that can read a book again, and I would read this one again. I absolutely love it. So that's Big Little Lies. I will link all the books in the description box if I can find links for them. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this one, and she's got loads of other books as well that I want to check out. So that's that one. The second book that I read, I also read this like the later end of last year, and honestly when I was starting uni, like reading books was a real like lifesaver for me. Just it was nice to read something that wasn't in French or Spanish, because that's my degree in case you didn't know. So it's nice to read something that actually is in English. And this book is Fangirl. It's by Rowell. I think I'm saying that name right. If I'm not, please correct me in the comments if you know how to say her name if I'm saying it wrong. But basically this book follows identical twins Kath and Ren, and they're going off to university. So I thought this was quite apt to start reading this as I went off to university. And honestly, I love this. Like it did take me a while to read it again around like academia and everything, but the character Kath, she writes fan fiction basically. That's what it's about. And I honestly saw so much of myself in her. Like I was literally sitting there thinking, like, you know, when you nod your head like to say, oh my god, like I relate, I get this. I found that I related to Kath quite a lot, in the sense that like sometimes she didn't really want to be in the real world. She just wanted to be in like her fangirl world, like in her fan fiction and like in fandoms and everything. And I've definitely been in that place. And using like a fandom or an online community as like an escape from real life drama and crap. So I really related to Kath's character more so than Ren, but both of them are likeable and everything, but I just found myself drawn to Kath more because of the fangirl thing, because I do call myself a fangirl as well. This book was great. The story was so lovely, and again the chapters aren't too long, which is a big thing for me. I don't really like long chapters. So yeah, most of them are about 15 pages long, so that's not too bad. Again, this book was $7.99. I got this in Waterstones. I will link it in the description box. So it says a tale of fan fiction, family and first love. So yeah, I absolutely love this book. I'm trying not to give spoilers away, but then I still want to talk to you about it. It's really difficult. But yeah, basically they both go off to uni, and it's like both of the twins, at first they were like you know, joined at the hip, really close, but then as they go off they start to drift a little bit, and that has like consequences, and stuff happens like because of that. So I definitely can recommend this one. I don't know if I'd read it again, I might do in the future, but I can definitely recommend it, especially if you're like, I don't know, 18 or under. So this is like in the young adult section, so if you're like a teenager like me, then you'll probably like this one more than Big Little Lies, because that's like a full-blown like adult book, whereas this one's like still YA, like young adult. So love that one. The next book, the third book, is a book that has had so much hype around it. If you haven't heard of this, I genuinely don't know where you've been, because I read this book purely because of Instagram, and every other person, blogger, influencer, Instagram person, talking about this book, saying it's so good, like, have you heard of it, how have you not heard of it? So yeah, I was influenced quite literally, and the book is Eleanor Elephant is Completely Fine, by Gail Honeyman. This book has so much bloody hype around it, and I can say that I am one of the people that can see why. I absolutely loved this book. So basically I'll read a little bit at the back so you can get an idea of what it's about. So It says, Eleanor Elephant leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence except sometimes everything. So basically, this book covers like depression. So I will put I am going to put a little warning in here. If you have depression, have struggled with like suicidal thoughts and everything, probably don't read this unless you think you are strong enough to handle it, because there are some quite graphic scenes in this book. I mean, the way that Gail writes it, like the writing is just phenomenal, and it is like so graphic and like detailed and everything. But I would say that I'm going to put a warning here, like if you do struggle with like depression and stuff, maybe don't read this yet until like you're strong enough to read it. But this book is just so good. I can see why there's hype around it. Some people say it's overrated, but I think it's really good because it just shows that someone who acts like everything's fine, they just get on with their life, like she's on her own, and she's just getting on with it and just plodding through life day to day, week to week, and no one really cares because she's not that significant, or she thinks she's insignificant. But it just shows that everything can be like, even though everything looks fine, it's really not. And it just shows that you never know what someone is feeling. So that's what I took away from this book, is that you never know what someone's feeling, so just be nice. And even if they say they're fine, everything looks fine, it could be really bad and they could be really struggling. So I love this. I did resonate with the depression side of it, having been there myself. I won't get into that right now, but let's just put that out there. So I definitely resonated to that. And I just think the way that this is written is just really, really good. Again, chapters aren't too long. No, they're not too long at all. About 12 pages about average. So yeah, I got this one in Waterstones again. I'll link it in the description box. But yeah, this book has so much hype around it. If you haven't heard of it, I genuinely don't know where you've been. But I can definitely recommend it, and I probably would read this again in the future. I only read it a couple months ago, so probably not right now, but in the future. And I've told everyone that I know about this, like family, friends, I've told people about this. So I definitely recommend it. The fourth book that I have to show you is this little gem, and it's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Now this one is different to all the others because this one is more of a biography, because it's Dolly talking about her life and her experiences and growing up in London, in the suburbs of London. This is so beautiful. Like, I read this book on holiday and I could not put it down. Like, I just could not stop. Every time I literally like gobbled it up. Every time I finished a chapter I was like, next, let's keep going. So yeah, it's like the chapters are like as such, but like each chapter is like about a different thing that happened to her. So like whether it be like going to uni, or a funny like New Year's Eve, for example, or what she's learning at each different age, or I mean there are recipes and stuff in here, or like one chapter is reasons to have a boyfriend and reasons not to have a boyfriend, things like that. So it's very different in the sense that the structure, like some chapters are like literally 2 or 3 pages long, and then some of them are like 20 plus. But honestly, the way that Dolly writes, like you actually like care about her, and I was like, I want this woman to be my best friend, which I think is a really special thing for someone to be able to do. Like you just feel like, even though it's a book, you feel like she's talking to you and telling you the story personally. And oh, she's just such a lovely person, and she's been through a lot, which you like find out as you get through it. And honestly, like, oh, you just want to give her a hug. Like, honest to God, I love this so much. I think you can get this in paperback now as well, because I've got the hardback copy because I got this quite a while ago. But I think there is now a paperback version as well. So if you don't like hardback books, there is a paperback version now. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. Oh, I would read this again. I would say though, This is like an adult book. So if you are, I'd say maybe 16, 17 or under, maybe don't read this because you might not get some of the references in here. And she does mention like there is like drinking and partying and all that kind of stuff going on. And as well, like because of like how old she is, the fact that I'm like nearly 20, I got some of the references to like the 2000s in this book, and like the 90s and all that kind of thing. Whereas if you are that little bit younger than me, you might not get some of the references. They might just go like over your head. But if you are around my age, like around 20, defo recommend this. It's so like light-hearted, easy to read. And it's just lovely just to see someone talking about their lives like this, like all the bad stuff as well as all the good stuff. It's just really good to see. And I was like, had tears in my eyes, laughing my head off, smiling, every kind of emotion I felt when I read this. So I absolutely love it. So I can definitely recommend this one, and I probably would read it again, to be honest. And then the final book that I have to show you is another young adult book, because I do alternate between both adult and young adult fiction. And well, that one was non-fiction, but that is an exception for me anyway. But I do alternate between young adult and adult books. So the last book that I have to show you is this one. It's To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, I think. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. So this book, if you haven't heard of it already, it is a Netflix film, and it is a bloody amazing Netflix film. If you haven't seen it, like, who, what, where, when, why, how? Like, how have you not seen this film yet? It is amazing. The cast in it is Lana Condor, who is pictured here, and Noah Centineo, I think that's how you say it. Oh my god, he's dreamy, like, man crush. Yeah, anyway, so they're in the film. Yeah, so I watched the film first, which I normally tend to do anyway. Loved it and was like, right, I want to read the book now. And this is the first book in a trilogy. There's two others. This is the first one. Second one is P.S. I Still Love You. And the third one is Always and Forever, Lara Jean. I haven't got the other two, but I definitely want to get them because I love this so much. But basically, I ended up watching the film, I think it was when did I watch it the first time? I think I watched it last summer the first time. And then I watched it again around Valentine's Day, and I was like, God, this film is just amazing. So I went out and bought the book, and I read this on holiday. Well, I finished that one in Cuba, and then I took this one as like the next one to start, because I always take another book in case I finished one. So I started this in Cuba, and then I finished it when I was in Portugal. And I'm not joking, I was literally like under halfway through it, and I literally just finished like 3/4 of it within like a few days, because I ended up starting another book when I was in Portugal as well, so which I haven't finished yet, hence why it's not in this video. But oh my god, this is just so good. If you want like a good young adult book that has like good characters, like nice characters, a bit of romance, because I am a bit of a romantic, and most of my books that I read do involve romance in some way. Yeah, if you want a good high school, American high school book with a bit of romance, with nice characters. But yeah, basically, if you haven't heard of this, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So the book follows Lara Jean, who is played by Lana Condor here in the film, and basically she is a bit invisible, but she is a hopeless romantic, and she has these love letters that she writes whenever she gets really strong emotions, and she keeps them in a box hidden away, a big secret. But then the letters get sent out, and you find out in the film who sends them, but I'm not going to say who because that would be a spoiler. And basically the letters get sent out, and all hell breaks loose, and her love life just goes out of control. So it basically follows the consequences of those letters being sent out in the first book. It was so easy to read. The chapters are about 10 pages, 10 to 15 pages long on average. Some are less, some are more, just depends. So the chapters aren't too long, which I like. Doesn't feel slow at all. I haven't read the second and third yet, but we got confirmation on Instagram via Netflix and via Noah and Lana, and like the wait for this next film has literally felt like forever. Oh my goodness, I am not joking. I screamed the place down when I saw that because I am so excited. Oh my god. Yeah, so the second film's coming out in February next year, which I'm literally counting down to already. I'm so excited. And then the third one, they posted a video. They were actually on set of the third film, and it's in production. So I'm so excited. So I'm guessing that'll come out 2021 probably, because the next one will be in 2020. So I am going to go out and get the second and third books because I absolutely love this one, and I love Jenny's writing style, and it's just so easy to read. So I'm definitely going to get the other two and try and read them before the films come out. Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm just gushing because I love it so much. But yeah, if you haven't watched the film, go watch the film first and let me know what you think of it. It's just so easy to watch. Like, I just stick it on my telly with some snacks, and I'm just like, happy days. If anyone else is an enthusiast of this, come chat to me in the comments and we can freak out over the fact that the films are finally being made. I'm so excited. So yeah, I absolutely love this. I'd read it again next week. It's a great young adult book. If you are looking for a new little trilogy series to read, I can definitely recommend this one. I can't testify to the other two because I haven't read them, but this is a great starting point, and I can only imagine that the other two are just as good. So I can definitely recommend this one. And that's it. Those are the 5 books that I have read recently. I say recently because some of them were last year, but those are the last 5 books that I've read. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Honestly, I want to make more videos like this, so if that's something that you know, you'd like the sound of, then let me know in the comments. I will link all the books in the description box in case you want to go and buy them for yourself and, like, you know, have had some inspiration to read as well, like I have this year. Because honestly, reading is so great and it's so relaxing. You can just lose yourself in a story and just forget about like all the stuff that's happening in your real life. I think it's just a perfect like escape. So yeah, thank you for watching if you got this far. Question of the video: have you read any of the books that I have included in here? If you have, which one, and did you enjoy it or not? And if you haven't read any of them, is there one in there that you like the look of and would like to read yourself? I hope there is. I hope there is at least one book in there that you like the sound of. But if not, I'm going to try and do more book themed videos, so hopefully there will be another book soon that you like the look of. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it would be so cool if you could give it a thumbs up for me. And if you are a new viewer who hasn't yet subscribed, it would be so cool if you could click the subscribe button below as well, and you can come and join the little gang that we've got going on here. Yeah, and if you click the little bell, you should get a notification every time I upload a video as well. So yeah, if you give this a thumbs up, subscribe and all that jazz. If you want to come and find me elsewhere, I'll put all my links in the description box to like my blog and my Instagram and stuff. I'm on Instagram a lot, so if you want to like reach me, that's probably the best way to get hold of me, or like find me if you want to chat about anything. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.